All right, what's up, y'all? And welcome back to Dad Needs to Talk. I'm your host, Robert, and today I'm joined by Miss Panda Dadan as we're going to be talking about all things ranking of kings. So, how are you doing today, Panda?
I'm great. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be invited. Ranking the Kings has been my show for the past couple months, I say, since it's been on. So,
Yes, 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 for sure. So, for those who may not know, we're going to give you all the info on ranking of kings. And so, I'll say this up front. you know, we'll kind of give y'all like general spoiler free information and background at first, but then there will come a point where we're gonna do full, no holds barred spoiler talk, and I'll have a time step and all that stuff just for anybody that might not know what ranking of kings is, but at least want to hear a little bit of information. Me and Panda will make sure that y'all will, if you're not already part of the Boji faithful, you will be by the time we're done with you.
very true.
So, Ranking of Kings, just to give y'all a little bit of background. So, it aired. It was one season, 23 episodes long, uh, both sub and dub. The sub is finished. The dub is still going. I think there's maybe like a handful of episodes left for the
Hmm.
dub to air. It is adapted from a manga from the author Sōsuke Tōka, and the manga for it started in 2017. Now, Ranking of Kings, the anime covers what is known as like part one of the story, and then part two is still ongoing. Because matter of fact, from my understanding, part two of the manga just started a few months ago. So hopefully there will be another season of the anime, but if it is, it might be some years from now. but yeah, so with Ranking of Kings, the basic general premise of it is that it follows a young prince named Boji who is both deaf and mute, and he is the eldest son of his kingdom. And basically, because of his disabilities, a lot of people kind of like look down on him, think that, hey, you are not fit to be the next in line to be king of this kingdom. And so yeah, so definitely Boji goes through a lot of hardships, but we
Hmm.
follow him on this journey of basically proving to everyone like, hey, no, just because I might have what y'all feel is a disadvantage or a disability doesn't mean that I cannot do great things. So with Ranking of Kings, Panda, what was kind of like your introductory to the show? Like, was it something that you was kind of already on the lookout for, or did you kind of hear just through the community, or what? And as well as like, what was like your first thoughts, before going into it and actually watching it, just seeing like the cover image or whatever.
I actually can't remember exact. I think I remember someone on Twitter tweeting about it. So, me being kind of the open to a lot of stuff type of manga reader
Mm-hmm.
and anime watcher,
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, okay, well, let me see what it's about. And I started it. I always give anime like a first try.
Yeah.
First episode, okay, the animation was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Specifically the character design, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, okay, okay, so he's definitely what the hell they treat him like this for? And so like from beginning to because I think I got started watching it when it was around like 8 episodes in,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I watched it and I was just like, I need more episodes. Like
Yes.
I'm tuned in,
Yes.
but it was something that I found out about like a few weeks while I was already into a couple episodes based off
Mm-hmm.
of Twitter, and
Mm-hmm.
I really haven't looked back since. So
Yes. Yeah. So for me, I'm trying to think. I want to say I think that I think I started watching it. Yes, yes, I did watch it that first week when it aired, but it was something that was initially I was like I don't know cuz I don't even know if I had really even seen a trailer or anything for it. It was just that one image that a lot of people probably know as like, okay, we've seen this what looks like a baby and maybe a diaper or underwear or whatever sitting on a throne with some like
right,
black blob or whatever next to him. And so, I was also kind of like, I don't know, but I ended up just kind of just giving it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I am so happy, so happy that I did because, yeah, this show is definitely so much more than what that cover image might kind of lead people to believe. And this show is definitely one of those prime examples of showing people like, hey, don't always judge a book by its cover. Don't always judge an anime by its, promotional image or whatever, because you might potentially miss maybe one of like the greatest things that has come out in a while. So yeah. So with ranking of kings and like I said, like Boji's on this journey to kind of prove himself, prove his worth to everybody. We kind of see him travel around a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
encounter a whole host of all types of interesting people and characters and things of that nature. And it is definitely a series that will both make you smile from ear to ear, make you shed tears of joy and sadness, um, as well as just gives you a nice warm feeling all around. It's kind of what I would say with ranking of kings. So I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's anything else like super spoiler free I want to say before because I'm really kind of just dive in. So just kind of just up front, just saying like, hey, this is highly recommended from me from Panda. Go watch it. Like I said, we gave you all the kind of like surface level details and stuff, whatever. But if you have not given it a chance or whatever, like I said, hey, it is out there. It is on Crunchyroll,
Some Funimation
and
too.
Funimation too.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, both sub and dub, so you have your choice. And I will say because I did at least check out an episode or so of the dub, and I'll say that the the voices definitely match. They did a good job with that as well. Like the voice is definitely matching the personality of certain characters. Of like, okay, yeah, Queen Healing, yeah, she's yeah, her kind of uppity attitude definitely matches in both languages and stuff. So, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, but yeah, but so let's kind of just dive right in. So hey, we're first to transition into spoilers. So just know, hey, if you have not watched it, go watch it and then come back and join the discussion.
Mm-hmm.
So overall thoughts, but before we kind of go back and like break things down, Panda, like what did you feel of these series as a whole? Like, did you feel like it did a good job from like start to end? Did you feel like it had like kind of like some rocky points, or what was you feeling like with looking at the series as a whole?
I think as a whole, like I rated it on my Annie list like a 5 out of 5
Mm-hmm.
stars. I think from beginning to end, it went really well. It kind of explored each character without kind of droning on too much.
Mm-hmm.
Like the focus, of course, was on Boji and Kage, but of course, we thought we looked into other backgrounds of other characters.
Mm-hmm.
And the only time it kind of fell off was like I want to say episode 22, but I think that was just mostly like we didn't like the decisions that the character made,
Yeah.
but it really more than made up for it in 23 because I was scared it was gonna have a terrible ending, but 23 was great. So I
Yes.
mean, I don't. There's not too many negative things I can say about it. I do still think a certain character should have got her shit rocked a couple more times,
Yeah.
but I accept the series for what it is. And I honestly think that this is one of the greatest series for a starter anime. If you're like recommending someone this anime, I
Yes.
think it does really well. And not to mention, like the animation is good. I know people say they don't like the animation, but I think they just don't care for the character design because I don't think there's any problem with the animation itself. Just the
Yeah.
way the characters are made
Mm-hmm.
look a little strange. Like no, they don't look like stereotypical anime.
Yeah.
It kind of reminds me of like those rubber hose cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
OG kind of reminds me of Harold from the Harold and the Purple Crayon, which is an old series I think off of PBS, and it's also a book.
Yeah.
But it's just like I don't mind the character design so much because like I think you have to keep an open mind to like different
Yeah.
stylings of different animes and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely agree with you that I definitely feel like all the choices that they made, from like from the character design to the animation stuff, it fits this series because I don't think that I don't necessarily think that it, at least for me, I don't think it would have felt as good if it was like a super realistic art style and stuff like that, like them kind of taking like really leaning into the fantasy elements of the series, like I said, from
Hmm.
from the from the visuals and all that stuff, whatever, just kind of really made this series like come that much more alive. Uh, just because I feel like this show, it does so good pretty much in every facet, from like you said with the visual side of things to even the music is so
Hmm.
good. They know when to hit you with those kind of like real peppy, cheerful tones, and then the kind of more somber stuff for like more serious moments. And I feel like that is also like another thing that I think caught a lot of us off guard was when there started being like those darker moments and stuff, whatever, of like, oh, people are dying, there's blood, and stuff getting chopped up and stuff, whatever. So
Hmm. Yeah.
yeah,
Love
yes, but I think that's just that it just works so well for this series, and just like I said,
that.
just once again, it's like, hey, do not judge a book by its cover. Um, so with we've talked about like some of like how this series does so well with the characters, because and I know this is something that we talked about a lot on your Tabernacle of Boji Twitter Spaces you were doing as the series was going on, of how there will be so many times to where it goes back and forth to where like, man, I hate that character. Oh man, I kind of love this character now, and then vice versa. Like, oh yeah, I'm rooting for you. Yeah, you are an awesome character. And it's like, yo, you is horrible, and stuff like that. But it just really showed that like, hey, there are these characters are more than just their basic or what you thought their first impression was. And I really appreciate the fact that, even in 23 episodes,
Hmm.
just about, because I'm kind of going through my mind, and I think just about everybody, at least like everybody that kind of like stuck around in the story, we got background on them, history, like who they are, where they came from, why they are in the position that they are in. And it is not often that a show does that, especially for that many characters that it covers. Because most time it's like, okay, you get to learn about your MC and maybe their buddy, but then this other character that you might see a lot, it's like, we're not going to really explain, why they're in their situation or who they are.
Hmm.
But like I said, I feel like that is just something that this show just does so well. So who would be, I'll say three favorite characters outside of Boji and Kage, because a lot of us have those two in our top favorites, but we'll kind of say, hey, those are automatic favorites. So who are a few others that you like really came to enjoy?
I have to say Mitsumata, and I don't think I hear people say sometimes say Mitsumata the giant snake,
Mm-hmm.
but I think what I enjoy about Mitsumata is that technically he's Boji's first teacher.
Yeah.
He is the one who actually did a better job of teaching Boji, like instead of Domas. But I like Mitsumata. He's always been encouraging the Boji, and I really wanted to learn more about his past. Like,
Yeah.
how did he end up being like two and a half heads,
Yeah.
basically? But it's fine. Hopefully, they cover that in future like seasons.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't, then it's not a big deal. My next favorite would probably have to be I have a love for Sheena, Boji's mom.
Yeah.
despite us not having a lot about her, we know that she's like tough and she loved her son and wanted to make sure he was safe. Which,
Mm-hmm.
of course, I love good mothers in anime, but I just, I wish, especially when we saw how she first met Bose. I really, wish
Yeah.
we could have had more, but I think she served her purpose for what we learned about her.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I have to say Despa because Despa's hilarious first and
Yes.
foremost.
Yes.
Despa's funny, but Despa like didn't just underestimate Boji and like rub him off. Like I mean, as soon as he saw that money that Kage gave him, he was down for the cause. But and I respect that. But I like Despa, and I like that he has taught Boji how to despite all, like Boji what Boji lacks,
Yeah.
he still was able to make Boji a strong,
Mm-hmm.
fighter and also a strong king. So I
Mm-hmm.
really appreciate Despa and what he brings to the series. Like one of the top tier senseis in the series, if we being honest.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So one of mine, I'll also say also Despa because pretty much agreeing with everything that you just said. Just because of the fact that once again, it's like kind of thinking back to like the first time where Boji them showed up at his door and he's kind of like flipping his hair back and the kind of look of like, oh, who are you, type of thing, to like you said, like, hey, at least he is honest, he is about his money, but he also does truly have a kind heart, and definitely was there to continue to support Boji and to show him like, hey, you can do more, you can be more. So yeah, so definitely Despa.
Hmm.
Um, I'm gonna think maybe Bebin. I think is another one that I really enjoyed just because he was which the way he kind of moved around definitely fit the whole theme, like with him being the guy in charge of the snakes.
Hmm.
But because he's always lurking around in the shadows and stuff, whatever, always observing. But I I also just like how along with Mitsumata, of like they both kind of have that understanding of they're both support of Boji, and I like how Mitsumata is kind of like a connecting thread for both Bebin and Boji,
Hmm.
and things of that nature. But yeah, Bebin, because it was so many times to where I was like, are you on our side? Are you on the other side? Because but I enjoy a character like that though, to where it's like okay, you think you understand them, but then it's like okay, no, they're doing something else. But actually, they were on our side, so I enjoy that about Bebin. And then lastly, this one, just
Uh-oh.
because every now and then I do like my small sprinkles of chaos. Oaken.
Okay, I support that. I
Yeah. Because of, for one, once again, just making a wild first impression of when the moment where he kind of like really got like first introduced, and he fought that one king, and the infamous squat where he just like, hey, I'm just gonna sit here and just watch you bleed out.
Like the moment he stepped into the scene, I was just like, "There's something about that one that's a
Yeah.
little bit different from the other." When he knocked into the side, I said, "Some shit gonna happen. I know
Yes.
some shit's gonna happen," and it did.
Yes. Yes. And so I liked that, and then it made him an even more interesting character. Like once we learned that, oh, this is Despotham's brother, who is immortal because
Mm-hmm.
of their dad was a god, and all this stuff. And it's just like it's just like the series just keeps. It's like every time you peel back a layer of understanding, there's even more to peel back and to find out. And so, but yeah, Oaken is definitely one character that I really enjoyed. Um, so kind of in like not going 100% step by step through the series, but just kind of just like really looking back on the way things kind of unfolded, from at the beginning, where we have our initial introduction and meeting of Boji and Kage first meeting together and stuff, and it was just so cute again because like I said, I went back and I watched that first episode again the other day, and just seeing those like early sparks of Boji just being like, hey, there's somebody that finally understands me, and it's like, yes, you are robbing me blind, but hey, at least you were giving me time, and you're not treating me super crazy or whatever. So from there to us kind of getting the first glimpse of Boji's potential when he was fighting Daida.
Mm-hmm.
That that moment to end episode 1 with the little bonk on the head of the stick, I pretty much they got me at that point because it's like, okay, there is more going on in the show. I need episode 2 right now, ASAP. But skipping ahead a little bit to where Boji kind of gets to go on his little journey with Domas.
And what's that baby name? The guard who like has faith in Boji. He's just
Yeah,
like a young guard. I forgot his name.
I feel like it starts with the H or something.
Um, I don't remember. I just know
Hokuro.
Hokuro. That is his name.
Yeah,
That is there. It is.
yeah,
I like him. He's an honorable mention for me.
yeah,
I know. I just hate the fact that he tried to take the fall for what happened to Boji and tried to apologize to Boji. Like it's not your fault. You didn't
yeah,
know.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, he definitely had his heart was in the right place. But yeah, and that he's another character that I kind of hope.
I'm getting ready to go.
Okay. He's another character that I kind of hope that in the future we might kind of get to see a bit more expanded upon, because I feel like there might could be some more there we can kind of learn about him and stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that little journey that they went on, when our poor sweet Boji got pushed into basically the pits of hell, I feel like that was a moment that stunned the world. Cause there's been so many people's reactions and stuff I've gone to watch of just for that episode, for that moment. People are like, it's kind of shade, it's kind of weird. There's this giant hole with fire constantly spitting out. Oh, let's go take a closer look at it. No.
See, that's the thing. Like when throughout the journey, I felt like something was up. Like
Yeah.
that moment where Boji was about to eat something
Yeah.
and it got knocked out of his hand. I was just like, that's not somebody trying to hurt him. They were trying to stop him from eating it because something's wrong with the food.
Yeah.
And like I had an inkling it was something to do with Domas, but it wasn't cemented. Like when he got pushed over, it was kind of surprising, but at the same time, I was like, I knew some shit was going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. But it just sucked just cause seeing Boji's like first experience with kind of like betrayal of like as he got pushed down, as he's like falling and like looking up and just seeing Domas looking down, and it's just like, man. But of course we knew our boy Boji would be okay. We knew he would bounce back, but it's just one of those things of just like constantly wondering like, okay, how are they going to get out of this situation? What is going to happen? But all that stuff going on, and then of course the return of, I guess, quote unquote, the return of Kage, even though he was technically with him all along.
Mm-hmm.
That was just such a sweet moment of just being like, hey, I've been with you this whole time. Because I even thinking back to when Boji fell asleep in the town, and the one guy tried to rob him while he was asleep and stuff like that. And we found out later on that Kage stopped the guy from robbing him and all that stuff. But But yeah, actually, let me see, because I'm kind of like just kind of glancing through some of these. Um,
Actually, that's when I didn't like Bebin at first,
mhm.
but as the series continued, how he let Kage go find Boji and stuff, and then
Yeah,
brought Kage to like Boji to Kage, I
yes,
got more respect for him. Like at that point where he sent Kage out to watch, because I think the thing with Bebin is, of course, he's always been Daida's supporter and backing him up and stuff, but I don't hate him as much as I initially did because it's not like he hated Boji. He just
hmm,
had support over of Daida, but he understood Boji's potential, which is why he was fine with Mitsumata teaching Boji what he
yeah,
taught him, which is
yes,
why he talked to Daida about protecting the people as king who are not able to really fend for themselves, like people who are high, like more like who functions at a higher level. Specifically, when he took him to the town and he
hmm,
said, "So you wouldn't be able to live like that if you were born like without sight or without hearing or without
yeah,
being." So I appreciate Devian's character for what it brought to the series. Like it's not like he switched up all of a sudden. He was just loving Boji. I
yeah,
think he had garnered a lot more respect for Boji as a character
hmm,
and understood like where he went wrong as far as like not stopping Daida from talking to Miranjo.
yeah, yes, for sure. And yeah, that is definitely something that I agree with as well. Is yeah, just Bebin always like you said, like being there and being supportive, but like like you just said, with taking Data out into the town to actually say like, hey, these are what everyday people kind of go through. These are what people like your brother go through, and you up here being mean and nasty to people and stuff, whatever. It's like, hey, you know, what would you do if you were in this situation? And I think between you know that moment and then of course what happens later on with the whole body takeover thing when Bose got put back into his body and stuff, which even that whole sequence of events of like, okay, the king is dead. Why is there
Mm-hmm.
why is there a demon coming out of his body?
Right.
To, oh, look, we have your dad's body and we're gonna grind him up into this weird black goop and we want you to drink it. And yeah, it was like, okay.
There's
that
just a lot going on. Like, okay,
yes.
like it was like extra too. Like it wasn't just they grinded up and just gave it to them. They went through a phoenix and they chopped the phoenix's head off
Yes.
and they do some. I'm just like, is all of this really necessary? Like,
Yes. Yes. Yeah. This show definitely like consistently presented those questions of like, what is going on? Do we need to do this? But yeah, and even stuff like that is like it's like I want to know more, even more about like that whole area with like all those like frozen beasts and creatures and stuff. Is like
right.
it's like, okay, what's going on? How did they all get here? I know because of the fact of like of like towards the end when they revived Miranjo, we saw that, oh, her body was like frozen there too
Mm-hmm.
until they broke the spell and brought her back. But it's just like it's like, okay, that's a mystery that that we need, hopefully one day we'll find out more about. But another character I definitely want to touch on as well is Queen Healing.
Mm-hmm.
That is a character that I feel like a lot of the community also went through a roller coaster with, because it was like the way when she was first introduced, it was like, yo, she is horrible, she needs to go. And she
Yep.
she has been so mean and nasty to Boji. But then we get the episode, the flashbacks of when she kind of first came around, and when she
Mm-hmm.
was genuinely trying to put in effort to try to connect with Boji and to you know actually making strides as far as like, okay, getting somebody to teach her sign language and all that stuff, whatever. And then then the moment with Miss Umada, and
Mm-hmm.
Boji just being like, hey, this thing is hurt, and then seeing her heal Mitsumata and just seeing like the love and admiration on Boji's face when he's like, oh, okay, maybe this new lady isn't gonna be so bad. Uh, but yeah, but I really appreciate it, and I really liked her story arc throughout the series. As for like I said, as far as like, okay, she seems kind of mean to where she
Mm.
still kind of has that personality and stuff from time to time, but now we know more that like, okay, there is more to her. There is actually love in her heart,
Hmm.
for both of these young boys, and I love like like at the end when she like hugged both of them.
Yeah, and they flashback to when they were babies.
Yes,
It was so cute.
yes, yes. I'm trying to think who else. So okay, so because this is something I didn't even think to bring up at the beginning. The whole premise behind the name of the series, the whole ranking of kings
Right.
system. I'm definitely looking forward to hopefully seeing more of these other kings and kingdoms and stuff, whatever. Because in all actuality, we only saw really a couple, like really only one other like active king, which was
Hmm.
Desha.
Yeah.
But aside from him, we did see the that one king from the forest.
That crazy.
Yes,
They had
him.
Boji dancing, and then he was just like switched up on. I was just like, Boji run.
Yes, yes, him, and I'm assuming his son, the one that showed up with Oaken, then when they went to invade the kingdom. But
Hmm.
it's like okay, like they have some type of, or they have been in positions of power, but it seems like they're not currently. But but yeah, I just hope that hopefully we will get to see more of these other kings and stuff in the future, because it's like okay, we got to meet the number two Desha, and then
Hmm.
Bose, which was who was number seven, and I want to know more about this treasure or whatever you get
Yeah.
when you become number one. As far as well as like what is up with these clown dudes that show up and be like, hey, I think you should go for take the number one spot or whatever. It's like, who do y'all report to?
Right.
Like there is some other like council or something in this world that is over them of some sort. So yeah, it's like we got a pretty good amount of stuff this season, but it's just like there is just so much more out there in this world to see and to discover. Kind of reminds me of like like the moment like in like One Piece when you discover that there's like the girls say the five elders and stuff. It's like, oh yes, we've been dealing with the Navy, but there's actually some other guys that's over all of them and all
Hmm.
that jazz. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think because I'm not gonna go through like play by play with every single moment. But I guess I'll ask you like what do you have any other like standout moments or anything from the series that like you like fondly remember or being like yo that was like a landmark moment.
I think that moment after Boji fought Daida and they hold him and he got was really injured, and after Queen Healing um healed. Well, I think it's
Yeah.
after or before. I can't remember. But when Kage basically told Boji like he was gonna support him from now on,
Yes.
that was a really big moment for. Well, I started crying. I'm
Yeah.
not, too prideful enough because I started crying because Boji has went his life without having really any type of support,
Mm-hmm.
at least support that he like feels and visually seen. Because
Yeah.
most of the time people make fun of him or don't give him any space or room to talk or do things because of his disabilities, and they
Mm-hmm.
underestimate him. And Kage is really the first friend and actually really the first big genuine support. And I would say his mom did, but his mom died before he got a lot older to just kind of know. Like he knew he was supported, but like
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't there for a long time for his life. But
Yeah.
Kage is the first person, especially non-familial, who's grown to support him and
Hmm.
appreciate Boji for what he does and what he has done, despite their initial meeting of I'm gonna steal your clothes and get some money off of him
Yeah.
and everything. So I think that was an extremely. I know like people might say the fight with him and Boss Face, which is a
Hmm.
good fight,
Hmm.
but that moment it hits home, like it really hits hard when you're so used to just being dragged basically, and
Yes.
someone actually comes out and verbally says, I'm gonna support you from now on." It hits different.
Yes, for sure. And yes. So I'm trying to think for me, I guess like for me, like one of my favorite moments, actually a moment slash episodes, was when Boji them were staying with Desha or Despa to
Mm-hmm.
train and stuff, and
Was it the cooking one?
yes, the cooking, because I'll never forget the freaking, like, the moment where Boji's in there cooking, just tossing everything in the pot or whatever, and when he eats it, his face is like, like, I'm like,
I was
oh
thinking he was throwing down.
yes. But then we
Look,
started seeing like the little like purple miasma cloud going through the house, and Despa and Kaga kind of like looking in the kitchen like, what is he doing? And then it's like that moment where he sits the bowls in front of them, and they're like,
I
but
was like,
then
don't eat that. Don't eat that. Don't eat that shit.
yes, but then they got food like the rest of us. When Boji was just eating, and he was just like, yeah, and they're like, oh well, maybe you know what, maybe it's not as bad as it looks. And then when they ate it,
Facial expressions were priceless. I was like, I said, this shit finna be nasty, and then it
yes,
goes. I was like, oh man.
and so it was just like really when that moment happened, and then we kind of got like that cool transition of when they kind of like background, like, hey, giants are basically immune to poison and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So like I like how they had like little transitions like that to where like they're in one scene, and then it's like the way it transitioned to like a giant picking up the house and just eating the whole thing and getting that
Uh-huh.
background and stuff. But yeah, that was definitely one of one of my
That
favorite
scene was
moments.
funnier than it needed to be because like they really just like played us thinking Boji in here throwing down. This was
Yes.
gonna be fire. And then they put it in front of her. I was just like, shit gonna be nasty. Don't eat that shit. Don't eat that shit. And I said, y'all stomach gonna be fucking real fucked up. Y'all eat it. Oh man. But I was just like, but that makes sense though. Like, the giants have like kind of a better like immunity to poisons, and so Boji don't know what the fuck he throwing in what and what he
Yes.
mixing there. Man probably put in rat poison by like accident or something without realizing. I'm just like, my poor baby can't cook. And they said we not letting him cook ever again. Never again. They knew their stomach was like, don't do that shit again.
Yes. Yes. And the other thing from there too was one of the first times we see Boji pull up with the sword, and we get to see him in action for the first time. And once again, this was like one of those moments again to where like the show does so good of like, okay, wait, can we trust this person? Can we not? Because the whole situation with where they were like in like the bar or whatever, and the guys started fighting Despa, and Boji, stepped into to intervene, and then
Mm-hmm.
afterwards, Despa went to go meet them in secret or whatever, and it's like, oh no, is he secret? Is he evil or whatever? And it's like okay, no, those guys, he did pay those guys to come, but Boji legit did beat their butts, and
Right.
so it was like okay. Okay, it was like, hey, please don't break our hearts, Despa.
Like I thought that he just played Boji to get his money, but I was just like, okay, no, he can fight for real. Okay, good, because I
Yes.
I I didn't want to hate this, but I really didn't.
Yes. One character that I kind of like. I wish we would have got like more out of them before they became like super submissive was a piece.
Appius?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I really liked IPS at first because he one stopped the whole fight between Daida and Boji,
yeah,
and then he beat Bebin, which I was supportive of, and then he just became this like he became Miranjo's bitch, and I was just like,
yeah,
okay, I guess.
yeah. Because yeah, because his first like I still look back on that moment when they were about to fight and the camera's panning around and showing us everybody and he's up here standing on the tip of a spear on top of a roof of a building and it's like yo who is that dude
Right, like I
and then
appreciate you, Kenpo. Like,
yes and then yeah then it's like cowering I'm like it's like why but I guess all the characters can be winners, but he was definitely one that I was like a little bit disappointed in as far as like, man, you were so cool at first, and then it was like now.
getting lame.
So, but it is what it is with him. Um, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think any other like crazy or just like moments that really kind of come to mind. Of course, anytime they had to fight Oaken towards the end of the season, because man, that dude was just he was just doing whatever to take you out, stabbing through himself, whatever. Like, hey, I'm immortal, so hey, you're behind me trying to hold me. Well, I'll just stab through my own chest, take you out, and all that
Oh,
stuff.
was a problem. Okay,
Yes,
a
yes.
problem, and I was just like, why are you like this?
Yes, yes. And he is definitely like one of like the main mysteries of the series that I look forward
Mm.
to us, hopefully seeing more of. Though I that crazy dude showed up and chopped his head off, and I threw it into a lake, and a fish ate it. It was like, what?
Although I understand, like I understand why people were saying it was so unnecessary and like just didn't make any sense. And I was just like, what? I kind of wonder, like, what was the point of that? Like, did they just need something to like happen? Unless it actually happened in manga. And even then, I'm just like, for what? Like, why? Why was this
Yeah,
necessary? Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
exactly. Yeah, there's got to be definitely something more to that dude and why he did that and stuff.
Hmm.
But hey, that's just one of the main things about this series is just like hey, it will you gotta be on your toes because you think something's
Hmm.
safe or oh we're supposed to have a sunshiny happy ending and old dude's like all right I'm gonna bust him out this rock, chop him up, throw his head and feed him to a fish and it's like
Catfish
okay.
didn't make
So
no type of sense why this happened. That was just disrespectful.
I know. But yeah, so I'm trying to think if I'm trying to think is there any other like key things I want to bring up for sure definitely want to find out more background stuff about like all these guys and stuff as well. That's like one of those other mystery threads with
Hmm.
like okay what else is going on with them um and yeah so I guess we'll 'cause we don't necessarily need to run super long with this but I guess looking ahead, like with the series, like what are some things that you're kind of like looking forward to seeing or finding more out about like with this series, like whenever we get more.
If we get more, we'll see how that goes.
Yes.
I think for me, of course, with the ending of Boji, instead deciding to make his own kingdom, I'm really looking forward to him doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to him building his own kingdom. Like he has supporters,
Mm-hmm.
but he needs the supporters who have been solidified as his own. And I feel like Gigon's going to be part of that at some point
Oh yeah.
with the relationship he formed, and Boji basically knighted him. So I feel like Gigon is going to be part of his kingdom
Mm-hmm.
eventually,
Mm-hmm.
but I also look forward to seeing how the other characters, meet Boji and fall in love with him.
Yeah.
And how like maybe older characters from currently Daida's kingdom come to help Boji if he needs it.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to seeing how these rankings are actually like the story, the world building. Like we have
Yeah.
Boss Kingdom and we know kind of what the rankings are, but we don't know about the world. Like we still don't know who those people were that Moranjo hired to kill Sheena.
Yeah.
We still don't know about that. I feel like in my like spirit, I feel like the gods are not completely gone. There are gods still in existence. They just don't come out as much. So
Hmm.
I feel like at some point Boji is going to run into either a god that's not so good or a god that
Hmm.
maybe kind of neutral. But
Hmm.
I'm also thinking of like how Boji can grow as far as his abilities
Yeah.
even further. Like I'm excited to see what else can Boji do with his sword. Is it just gonna be? Is he gonna stay the same, or is he gonna keep growing as a warrior, as a fighter?
Hmm.
I feel like I'm also looking forward to finding more about Kage's abilities and what he
Yes.
can do too. Because when he swallowed Oaken,
Hmm.
we didn't expect that, and I'm looking forward to seeing like the history of his clan and his curse, because his clan is cursed too.
Yeah.
Will that curse be broken? Are we gonna get a humanoid Kage rather than the
Yeah.
Kage we see currently? I'm looking forward to seeing about the kingdom that Kage, that little girl
Oh
and
yeah.
the little girl that
Yeah.
allowed Kage to and her servant or whatever allowed him to get away from the people who killed his family and
Yeah.
killed his mom. I'm looking forward to seeing maybe if there are other giants that
Yeah.
Boji that are in existence. I really feel like Boji's gonna meet another giant outside of of course, his family, his father and his
Hmm.
mom. Um, and I'm also even I said this. I think I said this in the last Tabernacle of Boji.
Hmm.
I'm looking forward to seeing how Moranjo grows as a character. Like I don't like Moranjo. Of course I don't like Moranjo.
Yeah.
But I feel like in the season, if we get a future season, she's gonna have to do a lot of soul searching and she's gonna have to build a lot of herself up to because of course, apparently she's marrying Dido, I guess, which I still don't like, but I
Yeah.
would that
Yeah.
she's gonna have to make up for a lot of shit that she's done because the majority of the things that have happened are her fault. So
Hmm.
she's gonna have to roll with the punches, and she probably is gonna be treated a lot worse than Boji was. Like not necessarily being underestimated and talked about, but being looked down upon because you're the reason why this happened to me or happened to somebody I care about. And the
Hmm.
only reason why you're here is because Diana cares about you. But I think no matter how much that's gonna happen, people are still going to like kind of treat her sideways because of what she's done, and
Yeah.
she's gonna have to roll with that shit and accept the fact that she did do something wrong and
Hmm.
also fight against that resentment that she initially had when she was introduced in the series. So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to her growth as a character. Will I eventually like her? I don't think so, but
Hmm.
I enjoy seeing characters actually grow and develop. Like for example, Hero from Inuyashiki, how his
Hmm.
character went through so many ups and downs of
Yeah.
I'm not a good person to I found someone I care about, so I'm gonna be a good person to I tried and I'm not gonna do that anymore to I'm gonna end this with trying to be a good person and sacrificing myself and stuff.
Hmm.
And as far as anything else, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to Desha when he goes into that treasure room because I feel like something bad's gonna happen to him.
Hmm.
Because I think they mentioned that if you become number one, you kind of go crazy.
Hmm.
So, and I like Desha as a character. I didn't care for Desha, but I like Desha as a character because he's just what kind of really what a king is supposed to do,
Yeah.
able to make those sacrifices. I think even Desha told Boji, you kind of have to be careful. Well, either him or Desha, I can't remember, but I think it was one of them that said you have to be careful with who you unite and who you bring into your circle as a king because
Yeah.
you don't know the past. But I
Hmm.
also love how understanding Desha actually turns out to be, especially when he tells Gigan, I'm sorry for how that happened and I'm sorry for what I did, despite Gigan kind of betraying his faction when they were fighting against their dad. So those
Yeah.
are all the things I can think about that I'm really looking forward to. There's so much more they can do with the following season, so I'm really
Yeah.
looking forward to what they do with it, especially if it stays with Wit. I want it to stay with Wit.
Yes.
Not everything needs to be on Mappa.
Yes. Yes. I definitely agree with you there. And yeah, like, yeah, the Desha definitely was a very interesting character because it's like, you know, I feel like just like a broken record, but it's just like those first impressions when we first saw him in that throne room to later on when he showed up to like invade the castle, and then like getting both his backstory with Gigon's and how all that stuff was kind of like intertwined and mixed and stuff. And this show is just so good. It is just so good with all those moments and stuff. And I definitely have to talk about, or just give just a shout out to freaking one of the dopest techniques in anime, the whole hand talk thing that Desha and Despa do, where they do like the little, and they're
Yeah,
talking, and it's like, hey bro, what you think about this? And it's like, that is, it's something so simple but so freaking dope. Just somebody, just them doing that.
mm-hmm.
And one thing, but before I kind of get well, I'll talk about this, but uh, for myself with the future of the series, same thing. I definitely am looking forward to, with Boji going on this adventure to eventually establish his own kingdom. Just the whole host of unknown characters and places we will see and we will meet. Uh, just because I just know, just like based off of what we got in this season, that okay, hey, any character that we might meet from this point forward or whatever, if I hate them when we first meet them, okay, there's a chance I might end up loving you by the end, or vice versa. Like, man, this person seems horrible, and it's like, oh no, they have, the most heartfelt story, and we're rooting for them by the time it's all said and done. So, yeah, definitely, yeah, just the joys of the unknown with the Ranking of
Mm-hmm.
Kings is definitely the highlight of all that I'm looking forward to. And we cannot end this without, of course, talking about how great those opening and endings
And
were.
look. When I first so the first opening, "Boy" by King New, I
Mm-hmm.
forgot. I don't know how to pronounce their band name, so I might have to
Mm-hmm.
look it up. I like how for the first half of the season, it's so lighthearted. It's You're going
Yes.
on a journey.
Yes.
There are people, around us, supporting us in the background. And it's focused, on Kage and Boji. Kind of, I like the title "Boy" kind of reflects how kind of Boji starts off as
Mm-hmm.
just a boy. Even though he's a prince, he's still just a boy in the eyes of everyone who really isn't capable of doing things.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, when the second half of the season was about to start, I was just like, I wonder how they're gonna top this. And Hadaka no Yusha by Vondi, it's translates into Naked Hero, came in swinging. When I first started, I was ready to see how this opening
Yeah.
was gonna go. And then when the beat dropped and you see the visuals and
Yeah.
all of this mysterious stuff, you see how it transitions from the lighthearted "Boy" by King Newt to this darker. There's more to this series than meets the eye in the second opening in Hadaka no Yusha. So honestly, both of them are 10 out of 10. Hadaka no Yusha is really my favorite because the lines and the lyrics of the song
Yeah.
really hit hard. Like give me enough light to protect all the things that I love. I was just like,
Yes.
you spitting singing in Hadaka no Yusha. Like, not to say there's nothing like Boy has some good singing, but
Oh
Hadaka no
yeah.
Yusha, those vocals hit me,
Yeah.
and it's just like everything is foreshadowed in the series, like kind of like Pink Blood by To Your Eternity foreshadows everything, but
Yeah.
Yusha makes it a lot more mysterious because you're just like, where is this scene from? And then in another episode, it's just like, oh, that's where that scene is from. So
Yes.
everything kind of connects to the opening, and they do a really good job of it. And honestly, I can't critique the openings. The endings are great too because they're a lot more chill and
Yeah.
solemn. And I like the first Oz. I think it's Oz by Yama.
Mm-hmm.
Azayama is I love that one. I really want to listen to it now that I'm talking about it.
Yeah.
And the second one I can't remember the name of, but those lyrics are cool too. Like it's okay to laugh with nobody else, even when you're the only one type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy both of the endings too. So honestly, as far as OST and music, Drinking the King's top tier too.
Yes, for sure. And I really enjoyed with, like you said, like with that second opening as the episodes would pass by, and then when we'd have those discussions in the Twitter space about like, yo, that thing that happened this episode that was in the opening, and that is one of the best ways or best types of openings that I like, to where it's like okay, it is kind of telling and foreshadowing some stuff, but it is shown and done in a way to where it's like, okay, I'm watching this, I'm not really thinking that, oh, this is maybe spoiling anything, whatever,
Right.
but because it's not like, oh, it's outright being like, oh, this person died or whatever, or this crazy thing that some other shows and series do. That was really good. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, going into the second opening, especially knowing that, okay, hey, when the season came back from the winter break or from the holiday break, it's gonna be a new opening. I was like, no, I love my little cheerful opening. No, I will not take a new opening. And it took a couple of times, a couple of listens, and then it was like, okay, okay, all right, I rock with this now. But yeah, I can't believe I almost forgot to to bring that up. But overall, ranking of Kings is for sure top tier. I think I'm a kind of let it soak and think about it, but I think I might legit have to make a place for ranking of Kings in my top 10 somewhere up there, because yeah, it's like legit, like we said earlier. The only flaw, if you can even call it that or whatever, or issue that I even had with the season, is just like how some of the Moranjo stuff played out towards the end.
Mhm.
But it's like okay, if I had to take off anything, it's like, okay, instead of a 10, it's a 0.5. But even that, I still get like a 99.9. Cause yeah, the Moranjo stuff, it's like, we'll see how that goes,
Right.
as things kind of continue. But yeah, but all in all, you know, I like you said, this is definitely a anime. There's a great starter anime, definitely a easy recommendation, because it's like, hey, you like something with good music, beautiful animation, story.
Mm.
If you are a fan of story and characters, Ranking of Kings has that in abundance.
Right.
So yeah. So if somebody out there happened to listen to this whole discussion and you have not watched Ranking of Kings, but hopefully, hey, we spoiled you. But hey, there is still even so much more that we didn't even cover that happened in those episodes. It was just like, we would be here for another hour or so if we went through like a step by step of every single thing.
Right.
But like I said, we just kind of just want to have a little chit chat, a little discussion, just to show our love and appreciation for this series. And it is definitely another case of giving a series to the right studios, the right teams, can make a wonder of changes, because it kind of reminds me of I know a lot of people are kind of familiar with how the art for One Punch Man and Mob Psycho is in their original web comic form or whatever, versus how the current manga that's in Viz, and then how the animes were done for those. Ranking of
Mhm.
Kings is kind of that same way. Like when you look at like character designs of the manga, it's like, yeah, thank you, Wit.
I really want to read it, but like I'm very much a visual person because I tried to read Mob Psycho and it wasn't happening.
Yeah,
Yeah, or just not, it was not happening. I need to actually watch it, but I'll do that eventually when I finish
yes,
my anime and stuff.
yes. And so yeah, so like I mentioned up top, Ranking of Kings, the the manga is out there in some forms on the internet, but the problem though, and granted, I can see this maybe changing with the popularity of the anime and stuff, but
Hmm.
right now there is barely any translations of it.
I believe.
Uh, cause honestly, even like a month or so ago when I kind of like looked at it or whatever, I saw somebody had translated. I think the last part I had saw, and like I said, this was maybe like a few weeks to a month ago, was they had got up to the scene of Boji splitting the boulder, and so it's like okay, y'all are just now here as far as like English translations, and there was also a whole debacle shenanigans thing of some. I can't remember the name of the company, but some company picked up the license for Ranking of Kings, and they were going to be releasing it um, with official English translations digitally or whatever. But apparently, and don't quote me on this, but just from like what I've read from different threads and stuff online, apparently a majority of their translations they like almost like copy and pasted the fan scanlation horrible translations and stuff whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and so people were not very happy when it's like, hey, we finally have some type of official thing for Ranking of Kings manga, and y'all kind of did it dirty, so they kind of took it down and they're gonna redo it. So hopefully, like I said, hopefully with the anime seemingly doing well and being popular, that might lead to, like I said, like us at least getting more of the manga sooner. Cause
Mm-hmm.
I have glanced and looked at, because I'm like I can't read this because it's all in Japanese, but I can look at the pictures and I'm like, okay, who is that character, Boji? What you over there doing? So I'm like, hey, it might be just a small little fix for my Ranking of Kings needs, but I'll at least like look at the pretty pictures like a picture book
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. So, but yeah, but we're gonna wrap this up. And I definitely got to show this off before I go. Some people have seen this on some of my other things, whatever, but my little Boji and my little Kage 3D printed figures, that shout out to my friend Bree that did these for me. I might try to one day get them painted and stuff, and I have a little stand for them. But yeah, but thank you, Panda, for joining me.
Thank you for having
Let
me.
the people know, you know, where they can find you, what stuff you might be up to, any projects, whatever you got coming up. Let the good people know what's going on with Panda.
Well, y'all, what's up? It's Panda. Follow me on Twitter at panda underscore the Don, DADON. Follow me on Instagram at stay.amplify with a PH instead of an F. Um, Make sure y'all tune in to Anime After Dark every Thursday, 8:30 CST, hosted by Worst Generation Podcast. Of course, the podcast I'm on, which I'll pub in a few minutes, as well as Blanime Podcast. Make sure y'all tune in. It's always a different topic every week. We talk about everything anime related, some things not so anime related. It's really a good time held by all, so definitely tune in.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure y'all follow Worst Generation Podcast. That's on Twitter, Worst Gen Pod, WORSTGENPOD. No underscores or anything like that. Follow us, support us on our Patreon. And on, yeah, I think that's about it. Shout out to all the other Black podcasts, Blanime Podcast, My Check Waifu, um, Inside the Mind of a Blurred.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
yeah,
them. Oh,
the
shout out to Concept Moon and God Punch.
yeah,
It's a lot of people that
yeah,
I have to put.
the
Oh,
the Kame House podcast.
Kame House Podcast, The Wonder of Anime.
Yeah,
Um, and of course, Geek World Podcast. Shout out to all of like the Black anime podcast community. We love y'all. If y'all are going to DreamCon, let me know. Definitely looking forward to that in July. And I think that's all I have to pub. Yeah. Oh! Shout out to Analytical, where shit gets critical on Clubhouse.
yes,
Shout out to everybody. If I
yes.
forgot, didn't mention you, I'm so sorry. But I'm terrible with remembering things sometimes.
Oh, it's all good, and of course, as always, I will have links and socials and all that jazz down in the description box below, and all that jazz, both on the YouTube video of this as well as the in all podcast streaming feeds and stuff. when we end in a second, Panda, stick around. I'm gonna chit chat with you. But as for myself, y'all already know it's been your boy Rob, aka Father of Vash, and you probably hear Vash screaming in the background right now. But appreciate y'all always showing me some love. And yeah, if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast on both YouTube, on my Patreon as well, on everywhere you can get podcasts. I am there or should be there. If I'm not, let me know so I can get there. And as I always say, treat yourself to something nice, read some manga, watch some anime, play some video games, and live your best life. And with that, we'll catch you on the next one. Y'all be easy. Peace.
Peace.
Mm-hmm.